Whenever I have too much time to prepare these videos, I end up looking like this and I don't look like myself, but we'll do it today. Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day, and today I will be making the folklore tag. This tag has been created a few days ago by theBookishKat, so I'm gonna link her video down below if you want to go and check it out, because it is not my idea, so you should definitely go and check out her video first or after mine. I don't care. I haven't listened to much of her new album because I've been working a lot, but I really love Taylor Swift's new album, and I think that my favorite song is Exile or Cardigan. I'm not sure which one of the two, but it could be both. Alright, so question number one, a love triangle that didn't end up the way you wanted to. For this question, I think I'm going to go with P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. This is the second book in To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy. I was team, it's a hard decision, but I was team John in the second book. Wasn't a fan of John in the movie, but in the books, I was team John. Question number two, cardigan, favorite young adult couple. For this one, I'm going to stay in the young adult contemporary because or else my answer is obvious. So I'm going to go with my newest favorite couple, and well, it's been a while since I've read it, but it's Eliza and his name. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name.
One eternity later.
Wallace, sorry. Eliza and Wallace are the cutest couple ever. I really love their relationship, and it wasn't a perfect relationship, and that's what I really loved about it, because it wasn't just any weird contemporary where the two people meet, fall in love, and the end. No, it had really, they had struggles and they had to go through them, and it was such an interesting story, and I recommend the book to everyone. Song number three, The Last Great American Dynasty, favorite classic novel. If you have been following me for just a little while, you will know that I haven't read much classic novels, and I own all of them, and I still haven't read them because what's wrong with me? But for the few ones that I have read, I would say that Animal Farm is one of the few that really resonated with me. I thought the story was so interesting, and the meaning behind it was incredible. It was mind-blowing, honestly. I didn't know that so much work and thought and study went into this book. Number four, Exile, a heartbreaking breakup. I don't read much books that have breakups in them, weirdly. I think that I'm not going to go into too much details, but in the Shatter Me series, well, actually it's a spoiler, but okay, so it's a spoiler, so don't skip to the number here if you don't want to hear about it. But in the Shatter Me series, Juliet and Warner do end up breaking up at some point. They do get back together, so it's not a huge breakup. But in the fifth book, which I hated, it was Defy Me. It was just them breaking up, and it was the most painful thing ever. And it was painful. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know how to count. My Tears, Ricochet, the saddest character death. I think it's going to be the weirdest character death, honestly. I'm going to talk about the Grisha trilogy, and I will be talking about the last book, so if you haven't read it yet, I really recommend it. It's a really, really great series. Yeah, skip to this time if you don't want to know who dies, but yeah, for some reason I cried when the Darkling died. I don't know why, because he was the bad guy, and I don't know, it was Alina and the Darkling had a really weird relationship, first of all, and I think is why in the end when he died, because he had to die because he was the most evil person, it was still painful to read and to witness because he was such a big part of her life and he helped her throughout her training and everything, and it was just the words that he said at the last moment of his life was really just, it was sad, and I cried, and I surprised myself because I don't cry in books. Number 7, mirrorball, a character you can relate to. The newest character that I have just recently read, which is Haley from What I Like About You by Marissa Kenter. A bit like Eliza and Her Monsters, Haley is a book blogger. She doesn't have a YouTube channel. I don't think so. It was very confusing, but she has a blog where she posts photos of cupcakes inspired by book covers. So it's a huge thing. Hey, no, matcha. Hey, no. Excuse me, my cat was going on the kitchen counter and she knows she's not allowed, but she doesn't anyways, just to trigger me, I guess. Anyways, I was talking about the cupcakes. Yes, she has a vlog, not a vlog, she has a blog where she talks about books and cupcakes, and I could just really relate to how much excitement she had for her blog and for her cupcakes and the books, and it was really exciting for me to read about her because I felt like she completely understood what I was feeling about my own channel, so yeah. Number 7 is the song 7, and it's your favorite middle grade novel. I don't actually read a lot of middle grade books, but I would say it's not a novel, it's a series, so I don't know how to explain that, but I would say the Furthermore duology by Taira Mafi. It is 2 books, so it's not a novel, but I think it's the only middle grade books that I've read that I can remember. I really liked it. It's a very, very fantasy and science fiction based novel. It's not a contemporary, but I fell in love with it. And Taira Mafi is my favorite author in the whole wild world. So anything that she writes, I will read and I will not be disappointed. I very doubt it. Number 8, the song is called August, and it is a doomed relationship you can't help but root for. I'm trying to think, but I mostly root for the good ships, if that's a thing. I mostly will root for the right people because I don't read much books that have love triangles or that have a forbidden love or anything like that. The only one I would say would be the Grisha trilogy. I shipped Alina and the Darkling, and it was not a great ship because the Darkling he's not a good person, and that's not a spoiler, he's just not a good person from the beginning, so you don't actually want them to end up together, or else he is an evil person, he wants to use her, so it's not a great relationship beginning, I would say. So I rooted for Alina and the Darkling, but it was not a good ship because they shouldn't end up together. Number 9, This Is Me Trying, a popular book that you didn't like but tried hard to. I tried reading The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, and I did not finish it. I read 50 pages and I could not for the life of me do anymore. I wasn't into the story, I wasn't into the characters, I was absolutely not into the writing style. I really did not like how the book was written. It was just one big phrase, one big sentence, and there were no paragraphs. It was just an internal monologue, and it was Number 9, Illicit Affairs, your favorite romance trope. For me, and it is like such typical of YA readers, which I really hate, but I love that trope, and it is enemies to lovers trope. Because I have a reason. Enemies to lovers trope means that at first you cannot stand the person, but at some point, if you're stuck with them, you have to learn to appreciate them or at least to work with them, and it makes you realize that the person isn't as bad as you thought they were. And I think it's just such a great revelation for the person to realize that the other person isn't an evil person who's doing bad things all the time, or is just a prick or a selfish person. Maybe that person just had a bad day when you met them for the first time, like whatever. But yeah, I just really love that trope. And one of the books that I really love that I read recently was These Broken Stars by by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. So we have the two main characters that end up on an unknown planet together, and they hate each other. And so, well, they don't hate each other, but they're not on the same class level, like the, I don't know, importance level of some shit, I don't know. But like the girl is really high class, she is like the daughter of the richest man in the world, and the guy is just a soldier. Well, just a soldier. He was a commanding officer, and they're not on the same level. Obviously, he's a soldier and she's a princess, let's say that. And so both of them really did not like each other when they ended up together, but they had to stay together on the planet to survive because they were alone, and like you cannot just separate and try to survive on your own, because that's just stupid. And I don't think it's a spoiler because it's just obvious they will end up liking each other and creating a growing relationship together, because they will save each other a bunch of times throughout the book. And I really love those tropes because it's a realistic relationship compared to like love at first sight tropes. I think we're at number 10, I don't even know. Invisible String, your first OTP. My first OTP was Juliet and Warner from the Shadow Me series. It was one of the first books that, well, it was the first book that made me start reading YA fantasy, dystopian, sci-fi books. Number 11, Mad Woman, your favorite female character. My favorite female character in terms of empowerment, I would say Cinder from the Lunar Chronicles, from the first book Cinder. She is a cyborg and a mechanic. So first of all, she's a cyborg, which is really cool because it's in the future. And second of all, she's a mechanic and she has a shop where she can just repair like a bunch of shit. And it was so interesting and so empowering to have a woman work in the mechanic department, because you don't see that all the time. And I just thought it was so cool that she had that skill that other people didn't. And it was just really cool. Number 11, Epiphany, a book or something you read in quarantine. In quarantine, I read Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I read The Alchemist by Paul Coelho. I still don't know how to pronounce that name. And I listened to Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. Well, actually, I listened to all these books as audiobooks. So technically, I didn't read during quarantine. Number 12, Betty, your favorite book kiss. I don't know. Well, anytime Juliet and Warner were together, I was just happy, you know? It was just so great and I loved it. Number 13, I think. I don't even know what number we are, but the song is called Peace, and it is your favorite young adult contemporary. I have many, obviously, but I'm gonna name like 3, okay? So, A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahira Mafi, because obviously. Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I'm really not original today. And The Summer I Turned Pretty series, trilogy. It's been such a long time since I read it, but when I read it, I remember it was during the summer. I read it during the summer. It's a book during the summer. It was all summery. It was such a good book. And it was a love triangle, wasn't it? I think it was between like brothers, which was really weird. It was a weird thing, but Yeah, I think it was between brothers. I don't remember, but I remember that I really liked it. And finally, Hoax, your favorite conclusion to a fantasy series. I don't really know actually, because most endings are unsatisfying because there's not enough to satisfy me with. Well, I really like the Grisha trilogy ending. I did. The Red Queen ending was really bad. I didn't like it. Even the Shadow Me series ending was so unsatisfying, and I talked about it in my review because I was mad as hell, and I'm not gonna say why, but if you've read it or if you've seen my video, you will know. And I will calm down now, okay? So just go watch the video if you want to know what I'm talking about. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any favorite conclusion to a fantasy series, I guess. Well, this is a depressing ending to the video, but this is the end of the questions. So if you want to do the tag, let me know in the comments so I will be able to go and check out your video, because I want to know all of these answers from somebody else, because I want to know what they thought or if they have any recommendations, because there are a lot of favorite things in that. Don't forget to go and watch the creator's video, theBookishKat, because I watched her video and it was really, really funny. So just go and do it. And yeah, I will see you guys next week with a new video. Goodbye.